Hey everyone, sorry about that. I was not quite ready to go live and I didn't realize it until I was live. And so today is day number 52 of 100 Days of Purpose. And for those of you that don't know, I am Coach Linda, and this is 100 Days of Purpose. So today I'm going to talk about another one of the difficult people that we encounter in life, and that's the Debbie Downers. They come in, they're Debbie Downers, negative Nancy's, um, coping carols. What else? Yeah, they go by a whole lot of names, but we're going to talk mostly about the Debbie Downers and the negative Nancy's. Um, we talked about the snipers, right? And we talked about the tanks, and the tanks can be for or against you. We talked about that yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about the Downers and the negative Nancy's, the Debbie Downers and the negative Nancy's, because there's always going to be people in your life when you are working on yourself that say that you're being selfish, that say that um you are not being fair, right? That they need certain things from you and you're not giving them what they need because you are taking care of yourself. And first of all, self-care and taking care of yourself is not wrong. It's how you do it, right? It's how you do it. If you do it in a way that you are, narcissistic or um uncaring about other people's feelings, then that can be damaging. That can be damaging. Um, but when you are working on yourself and you are trying to change your mentality, you're trying to change your emotional awareness, you're trying to be better so that you can attract better to you, so that the people in your life start to elevate and start to be of a different quality, right? A different caliber of people. Some people will say you changed, right? Well, you're not the person I knew you to be. You don't have time for me anymore. And most of the time, these are the Debbie Downers and the negative Nancy's. You can't do anything. Everything is, it's kind of the Chicken Littles of the world, right? The sky is falling because an acorn fell on his head, right? So the sky is falling and they can't see good in anything. Um they don't understand why you would want to try to do something different in your life. They don't understand why. Sorry, I I don't understand. They don't I go live sometimes and it's almost like a drug, because then all of a sudden I start yawning. Been fine all morning doing what I'm doing, working and getting stuff together, and go hit that live button, and then I was like, I got a yawn anyway. It's the sight game of the year, I don't know. But they then start talking about what you can't do and why you don't need to change, and it's not that bad, and if you're going to do this, and then they start pointing out all the bad things that could happen, right? They're Debbie Downers and negative Nancy's. And these people can be difficult when you are transitioning from being just being someone who is living an existence to someone who's living and existing and thriving in purpose, it can be very damaging to you, because some of these people are people that are you're close to. There are people that you trust. There are people that maybe you've told your darkest secrets to, and now they're using those secrets to come at you and tell you all the reasons why the sky is falling and why you won't be able to accomplish what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And so, one, you with these type of people, there's one or two things that you can do. You can try to understand them and hopefully have a good conversation with them that will lend to them then saying, you know what, I'm going to step back and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to step back and I'm going to support you in whichever way, whichever manner um, is necessary. I may not agree, I may not understand, I may not even want this change in your life, but I get it. It's your life. And so I'm going to let you live your life. And that comes from, having a good conversation with them, trying to understand that where they're coming from and not trying to change them, but making sure that they understand where you're coming from. Um, and then you have to identify whether they are a Debbie Downer, if they're just throwing a wet blanket on everything, um, and they're really coming from a good place, or if they are a negative Nancy. You got to know who you're dealing with, because even though I am so sorry. Even though the steps of dealing with them is different, or not different, it's kind of the same, because you got to identify who they are. Number one, you got to try to understand them without changing them, right? Um, so understand them and then don't change them. That's, one, two, three. So identify that they're a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy. Don't try to change them. Understand where they're coming from. And number three, understand them exactly where they're at, right? And then you got to not let them be toxic in your life, right? So they get to speak, but they don't get to influence. Okay. They get to vent, but they don't get to influence, because you're not changing them. You're not changing who they are. You are just saying that I recognize that you can't see my path. You're not walking my path. We're two separate people. And um, that's okay. I'm going to let you be you, but you have to let me be me, right? So you don't allow them to be toxic in your life. And understanding whether they are a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy is important, because how you stop them from being toxic in your life is going to differ by who they are. So if they are a Debbie Downer, you're going to let them say what they're going to say. And then how not being toxic look is you're going to say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to try this and this. Notice I didn't say however. I didn't say and. I said but. But negates everything you just said. I hear what you're saying, but that stops it right there, because but is a 360, right? But is a 180, I should say. It's going the opposite direction. It's saying this is what you've said, but I'm going in this direction. I am not going to allow you to influence me. And if you believe that that is the direction you should go in, then they, if they are a true friend, will say, you know what, I'm going to let you do that. And you got to recognize and be okay with, if they said the right thing, even though it's a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy moment, if they said the right thing and you start walking down that path and you see, oh man, Debbie was right, Nancy was right, you go back and you say, you know what, you were right, but I had to try it, right? That's not allowing them to be toxic. That's not allowing them to influence you. And then you're still not going to do what it is that they suggested. One of the things that, and I'm going to close this out, but one of the things that is, you really want to get under my skin, is if you come to me and say, well, you should do this, or I need you to do this, or if I were you, this is what I would do. Those things get under my skin because each situation is different, and you can't tell me what I should, could, or would do. You can't put yourself in my shoes, because even if the same exact thing happens to you that happened to me, it's still based on your experiences. It's based on your response. It's based on the environment you have grown up in. And our environments are not the same. You can even grow up in the same household and still have different ways of thinking, because you are an individual, and people have to allow that. They have to let you breathe in your experience. They have to let you breathe in what you believe and what you think is right. Remember, as a person of purpose, you're strategic, intentionally on purpose, walking out your path. Are you going to make some mistakes? Most likely, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, but we got to say, I need to be able to do this and to experience it and to embrace it and to understand it so I can grow from it. So you have your downers, you have your negative Nancy's, you have your Debbie Downers, you have your tanks, you have your snipers, and it's important that you don't let any of these people be toxic in your life. You already know that the sniper is not there to help you out in any way, shape, or form. They're there to kill it. They're there to destroy it. They're there to take you out. Period. That's why the sniper gets in position. It has a mission, and that mission leads to disaster. It leads to pain. Somebody is going to experience the end of something, right? And then you have the tank. And again, the tank can be for you, plowing ahead, but you got to clean up the carnage because it's just plowing and killing everything in its path, but it's focused on the target, right? And sometimes you can be the target, which is the opposite side. They're targeting you and they're tearing up everything in its path to take you out. So you gotta, it's kind of 50-50 with the tank. And then you have the Debbie Downers and the negative Nancy's. And again, you can't let any of these people be toxic in your life. You've got to understand them. You got to understand where they're coming from. You got to take the time to really listen to what it is that they are saying without allowing what they're saying to influence you. And you have to identify, is it a sniper? Is it a tank? Is it a good tank or a bad tank? I mean, when you really look at it, tanks are not good in either shape, whether they're working for you or working against you. They're not good because the carnage is real. And somebody's got to clean it up. Someone's got to take on and clean up that collateral damage. And then you have the Debbie Downers and the negative Nancy's, who are not detrimental, but if you listen to them long enough, they can be, because they can kill it before it even begins. I am Coach Linda. This is 100 Days of Purpose. We're on day 52. Woo, woo, woo. We have come over. We have crossed over and we sliding down the hill, right? We crossed over. We been climbing up the hill. Now we on that top slope and it's kind of hanging there, right? It's kind of hanging there. And any minute it's just going to drop. I love roller coasters. And so hopefully you're getting something out of this and you're thinking, well, maybe I need to work with Linda. And I'm going to say this. Stop saying maybe and just work with Linda. All right? Because many of you probably are not walking the path you were intended to walk. Most likely because you haven't taken the time to even know who you truly are, to even know what that path looks like. You've been told this is what you should do, or this is who you should be, and you've done that. And most of us are not happy in what we do. We find joy in the beginning, but now it's a trudge, right? It's just autopilot. And so yeah, we're not happy, but your life should bring you joy. You should have life and that more abundantly, which means your life should bring you joy. Understand, I did not say happiness, because happy comes with what's happening in your life. Joy comes from a place of everlasting. It's evergreen, right? Joy is always there. I'm joyful even when I'm crying. I'm joyful even when I'm like scratching my head and confused. I'm joyful because the joy that I've learned to tap into is evergreen. It's always there. And it's there because I'm walking and doing what I was created to do. And so it's natural for me. And it's even better on a good day. That joy just bubbles up out of me. It's like David said, my cup runneth over. And so you got to understand that, you got to believe that, and you got to work towards it because it does not come easy. It does not come easy. You do not exist. You do not, you didn't, it's not in there balanced. You do not exist just to do your job. You exist for a solution that God put on the inside of you. And yeah, I'm saying God. And I know somebody's getting upset about that, but you know what? I am who I am. And I make no apologies for it. I'm unapologetically me. And so you've got to recognize that, understand that, and walk therein. So you need to work with me. You need to bite the bullet and invest in yourself. You want people to invest in you. You want people to look at you and say that you are somebody worth value. Then you've got to value yourself. You've got to love yourself because you can't love others if you don't love you. You can't value others if you don't value you. You can't expect others to invest if you're not willing to invest. And so that's what's important here. And so this 100 days of purpose is me coming on here giving you little bit of tidbits. And some people say, well, you're giving a lot away. No. Actually, I'm not. I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg. There's so much. If you look up under that water, there's so much going on down here that I never bring out because I reserve that for my coaching clients. I reserve that for the ones that's willing to make the investment. Because if you're willing to make the investment, then you're willing to do the work. And if you work the plan is going to work for you. That's it, and that's all. So no, I don't give the treasure. You guys are just getting what's on the surface. If you want that big carat diamond, you got to dig a little bit. That's where you're going to find the big diamonds. That's where you're going to find the big nuggets. That's where you're going to find the life-changing experiences. What's on the top? These little chips and little, you might find a carat, a 1 carat diamond up on the top. But if you want that 10 carat, you want that 20 carat diamond, you want that diamond that's going to be life changing and is going to save you and your family, It's not going to be on the top. You're going to have to dig for it. You're going to have to get a little bit dirty. You're going to have to make that investment. You're going to have to put some time in. You're going to have to put some work in. I did the work. I'm still doing the work. And believe me, the return on investment, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine the return on investment. But I did the work. I worked the plan. So I'm not telling you something that I haven't been willing to do for myself. You got to be willing. You got to be willing. And I talked about that early on the 100 days. About being willing. You got to be willing because the opportunities are going to come, but you got to be willing to walk through those doors. You got to be willing to take that chance. You got to be willing to do the work. I've had people come to me and they say, Linda, I want to do this, but I can't afford it. And I've even done some ridiculous prices for them so that they could afford it. I put them on payment plans and this, that, and the other. And they didn't want it. They didn't want it. If you really want it, you come and say, whatever it costs me. I love King David because he said, I will not give God anything that costs me nothing, right? I'm not going to, in other words, he was like, I got to invest. I don't want it to come easy. I don't want it to be free. I don't want it just because I'm King David. I don't want you just to give me the land. I want you to make me work for it. Because when you make me work for it, I appreciate it more. Because my blood, my sweat, my tears is in it, right? So if you're thinking about hiring me, just bite the bullet and hire me. And I'm bold enough to say it because I believe that you deserve it. You deserve to be a person of purpose. You deserve to have the life you were meant to have, the life you were created for. So, you know what I say all the time? Only those that can see the invisible can achieve the impossible. So, I double dog dare you to be you and let the world adjust. And it will. But it's not going to adjust for the okadoke. It's going to adjust for someone who's willing to do what's necessary to stand in the space that belongs to you. Are you willing to do what's necessary to stand in the space that belongs to you? Because it belongs to you. Nobody else can stand there. So if you don't feel it, nobody else is going to feel it. But if you're afraid to step into that space, there are people going without because you didn't want to step up to the plate. So if you're thinking about hiring me, hire me. Say, hey, look, let's do this. I want to know if my life is on point, if I'm traveling down the right road, or am I on B Street when I should be on A Street, or am I supposed to be on B Street? Because that's what's going to happen. And then you're going to find more effective and efficient ways to live your life because you're going to be strategic, intentional, and on purpose. Take that sip of life. Take that sip of life. I'm Coach Linda. This is 100 Days of Purpose. And now I am out.